2 Kings chapter 4 verse 8. And it fell on a day that Elijah passed to Shunammite, where there was a great woman. The Bible says she was a great woman. And she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as oft as he passed by, he turned hither to eat bread. Now, eating bread is an expression of having a meal. So she saw the preacher, this great woman, and she said, hey, why don't you come in and eat, preacher? You know, it's hard to find families that will invite a preacher over to come and eat dinner and meet the family. Most people are too scared of the preacher. They don't want him near anybody. I mean, they don't want him near their families. They don't want him near the work. They don't want him near their school. I mean, Sunday's fine. That's all we need to see the preachers on Sunday. That's good enough. But this woman said, hey, here comes a preacher. I see him walking over there. Go ask him if he wants to have lunch with us. And so he did. And he started going all the time. And she liked it. Hard to imagine people liking the preacher. Most people don't want to do anything with the preacher, but she apparently did. She cared for him. She'd invite him to come over and eat anytime he came by. That's a bad move. Once you start feeding preachers, they're like stray dogs. They're constantly coming over looking for scraps. I mean, you know, once you start feeding them, that's it. I mean, they're always looking for something to eat. But she liked it. She'd had a meal with her husband. Her husband was older. And most people, again, they don't want the man of God anywhere around. They don't want to know where they live. They don't want him around his children, unless the child says something, you know, makes them not spiritual. They don't want the preacher nowhere near, but this woman, she did. She had respect for the man of God. She had admiration for the man of God. She was saw this man and said, you know, if I help him, give him, feed him, God's going to put that on my account. And I may not be able to do a whole lot, but I can at least cook the preacher a meal. I can do that at least. She wanted to please God in just some little way that she could think of. And she said, if I can't do anything else, I can at least feed the preacher. I see him all the time walking around this town. And she said unto her husband, behold, now I perceive that this is a holy man of God. She's been talking to him a long time. After talking to him, I remember we had a couple that was working on our church in Conroe. And after sitting and eating dinner with us, after weeks and almost 6 months, she said, you know what? You're a real holy man. She said, I can't believe, but I've never been treated like this by any other preacher. She says, you know, you're a real, you're not an actor. You know, some people play the part of the preacher. I always got to be holy. The little beads and incense and ring the little bells. She said, no. She said, you're just a regular guy that knows God, and she said, you're a real preacher. She said, I know that. This woman said the same thing. She says, I know Elijah is a holy man. And she says, I know it. And he's coming by a lot. She said, I want you to do me a favor. She's talking to her husband. I want you to make him a little chamber. Make him his own room. I want you to put a wall so he has privacy from the rest of the house. He can come and go. I want you to put a bed in there, a table, a stool for him to sit down when he needs to study, a candlestick. I want all the modern luxuries that they had at that time there for the preacher. So when he comes, he'll have a place to sleep. He'll have a place to think. He'll have a place to pray. And he'll have his own privacy. So he can get up and go anytime he wants to go. And when mealtime comes, we can invite him to come and eat with us. Now, this is a woman that really wants to be a blessing to the preacher. And so they made the room. They made the private room. And the study, so you can study in privacy. I told your mom yesterday she wanted to do something with the carpet, and I said, can you give me a few more minutes? I'm trying to finish this message. And I need quietness right now. And sometimes I'll scream and holler to get quietness. Shut up! I'm trying to get hold of God. You say, why do you do that? Because I'm a man, and I'm not going to, fake you out by pretending that I'm not only my preacher, but I'm also a man. And sometimes I need peace and quiet so I can get a hold of God. And so she's made this room. And the preacher needs time to think, to study, to meditate, to pray, get a hold of God. And it's hard to do when you're trying to coordinate all this and also make conversation. So, he couldn't do it while he's eating there with her. So she saw that there was a need that needed to be met, and she asked her husband, can you do this for the preacher? And sometimes people will see a need in the preacher's life, and they won't meet it. They just won't meet it. If you go to every nursing home in Houston or in the United States, I can tell you right now what every one of those persons needs. They would like one of their family members to take time and go by and visit them. Just take time, come by, say hello, spend a little time. People that are in jails and prisons, you know what they want? They want somebody to come by, just to visit, just for a little bit, just to be a blessing. And this woman knew that. I want the preacher to come, but I don't want to be a nag. I don't mind him sitting down having dinner with us, and when he's ready to get up, he can get up. And if you need to do something, preacher, go ahead and do it. But she provided a place. And it fell on a day that he came through there, and he turned to the chamber and lay there. And he had a servant named Gehazi. And he called the woman. And she came in. She said unto him, Say now unto her, Behold, thou hast been careful for us with all this care. She's taking care of him and his servant. And she said, Tell me, what would you like me to do for you? Anything you want. Now, this preacher was pretty gutsy, don't you think? He said, just tell me what you would like me to do for you, and I'll get it done. Would you like me to talk to the king about you and your family? Let the king know what a real blessing you've been. Or the captain of the host, the one in charge of the army. Would you like me to go and talk to the general about you? And would you like me to go and tell the people all the wonderful things you've done for me? And you know, how I feel at home laying on my bed. I mean, there's a preacher laying in his bed in the room. He feels at home in this woman's house because he's got his own room right beside it. He just feels at home. And he's laying there and he's telling her, what do you want? What kind of desire? I want to be a blessing to you. You've been such a blessing to me. I want to be a blessing back. And is there anything I can do? I mean, I'll do anything you want, anything you like, because you fed me, you changed my sheets, you got me my study quarters here for me. I want to be a blessing. And the woman said, and he said, what then is to be done for? And she said, I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I'm trying to be a blessing to you, preacher. You don't understand. It's not me looking for anything. I want to be a blessing to you. So the servant says, I know what she needs. And Elijah says, what does she need? She doesn't want me to brag about her. She doesn't want, you know, more crops or another car or anything else. Well, what can I do for her? He says she doesn't have any children. She married this old fort, you know, and he's, you know, up in his age, in his 70s or 80s, because that's the way they did it back in those days. If your husband died, your brother had to marry you. The only brother this guy had was some older brother. And he's not concerned about having any more children. He has her there.